Welcome in latest episode of that SEC podcast. I'm your host, Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. And there he is, Mr. 9 out of 10 himself, cousin Shane, a big Tennessee homer. What's up, brother?
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Oh, buddy, we were just talking about it. Hugh Freeze, he's the gift that keeps on a giving. They don't even have that good of a game, but they're staying in the news, so congrats to you, Mr. Hugh Freeze. We got a loaded week of games to get to, Shane, but before we get to that, of course, don't forget, who's on a heater, Shane? We are on a heater, and you can get on one, too. If you head on over to mybookie.ag today, the online sports book, put in that promo code, ThatSEC, they're willing to match your initial deposit, Shane, up to $1,000. So if you put $1,000 into MyBookie today and you put in that promo code, ThatSEC, they could give you $2,000 to double cousin lock of the week. Lock us up. We are the opposite of Hugh Freeze right now.
Yeah, we are definitely on fire right now. I think we're 3 out of 4, batting 75%. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? We can't be the only ones making money. So jump on MyBookie, put in that promo code, and let's have some fun together.
Right. So let's get into it, Shane. Like I said, we got a lot to cover.
Yeah.
And they're already fighting in the comments about God knows what. But it ain't this, because I don't think there's any defending this. For anybody that missed it, Shane, in case you didn't, now let me set this up for you. This is Hugh Freeze on his radio show after getting beat down by Arkansas. This is, I don't think anyone would say this is not a better roster than last year's team. Mm-hmm. Last year they killed Arkansas. Different story this year. Here's Hugh Freeze after the game. Play that game 9 times. We would have gotten them 9 more times.
You've got to get them to where the winning ways are happening on those critical downs. I mean, no offense whatsoever to Arkansas or to Cal. I love Sam Pittman. I hope he wins the rest of his games. But I'm telling you, the hard truth is we play them 9 more times, we beat them 9 times. And that's what's hard to take. And it's hard for our fans, I'm sure, and it's certainly hard for us. And you have 460-something yards, and we only had 50-something plays of offense because we turned it over 5 times. And it's just it's frustrating. And those are the truths of the game.
And keep in mind, Shane, this is the same damn guy. Remember, this went viral, too. It wasn't that long ago, a couple months ago. Yeah, I beat Nick Saban twice. I should have beat him 4 times. Remember that? I mean, this is the same dickhead that said that. You know what?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always I, and then now we got 9 out of 10. I thought my favorite, I don't know if you got the video, was Arkansas trolling.
Oh, we'll
them.
Get to it.
Okay.
But I'm not there yet, Shane. Let me continue on, because I assume most people didn't watch this radio show.
Yeah.
Now, why would you? You know, he's a loser. He's going to go playing. And they just hear the clip, which, again, that's all they really needed to see. But I went and checked it out, Shane. He said the scheme is beautiful, needs no changes. That was also mentioned on the call. Hank Brown threw an interception on his favorite call on the play sheet. So let's we've already thrown Peyton Thorne under the bus. Let's throw Hank Brown under the bus. It was the quarterback's fault for not checking out of a run, not the center. So he's letting everybody know, yeah, he screwed up the run game too. I mean, this guy is just a buffoon. And again, what does that? What does it mean, Shane, when you say, "Oh, I love," it doesn't matter if you're talking about Sam Pittman or Nick Saban or whoever you're saying, but when you say, "I love him, great guy," well, we would have whooped his ass 9 out of 9 if we played. You know what I mean? Like that means you have no respect for that person,
right?
And you're essentially just saying that I'm better than him, and that was a fluke, basically. I mean, it's the most disrespectful thing I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm right there with you, and it just keeps doubling and doubling here. And I would imagine at some point somebody just needs to tell him to shut up and not say anything. But then again, this is his true feelings. This is how he feels about his program. This is how he feels about his players, and I'm kind of glad it's getting the airtime it deserves. And I'm kind of glad Mike woke up and chose violence today.
Well, I wasn't the only one, Shane, as you alluded to. So after that, Arkansas official football Twitter account, they had some thoughts on the 9 for 9 comments here.
Tapped it at the 30-yard line, out of bounds. Jaden Johnson. There's another turnover.
Oh, whoops.
Toward the boundary. Oh, looks that way, and it's in toward the boundary.
Anyway, that's what was a clip. And the caption, Shane, I screwed that up, my bad. It says, that's a pick 9 out of 9 for Jaden Johnson, according to the Arkansas Razorbacks. But, man, again, it's just so easy. But Hugh makes it easy, you know?
Yeah, he really does. And again, do you want, I mean, at the end of the day, do you want to play for a guy like this? You know, and this is where he's kind of building this program is through recruiting. And if I'm a parent to a kid and I'm looking here, he's just hanging these kids out to dry, that's me less likely wanting him to go to Auburn and play for football. You know what I'm saying? So I think, you know, if anybody knows that actions have consequences, it's Hugh Freeze. And, you know, I'm at the point here where I can't defend him. I can't say, well, at least he's winning. They're 2-2, Mike. And right now, I think reeling back, this is a team that I'm sorry, 3. Are they 2-2? Yeah.
They're 2-2 right now, 0-1 in the SEC.
Yeah. So I feel like we're at the point that, what are we doing here, man? Where do we go from here? I'm listening to people say they're talking about grabbing other players on the football team to make them a quarterback. That's where they're at with Auburn here. You know, it's like
it's pitiful, Shane.
Blame the quarterback.
And it doesn't even stop there, Shane, because after that, the guy they really wanted, not Hugh Freeze, but the other coach that they wanted down there, none other than Lane Kiffin, who hates Hugh Freeze. He was asked about his relationship with his quarterbacks, and clearly he's taking a shot here at old Mr. Freeze.
I asked Jackson over the summer just how far y'all's relationship has come, and I think you used the phrase light years from when you got here to how things are now, and we see video and clips, and you've been around a lot of quarterbacks. What makes maybe this relationship between y'all two special compared to others you've had?
I think Jackson's a wonderful person. I think he treats people really well. I think he spends a lot of time with his teammates, a lot of time with kids around here, including my own son and nephew. And so it's just a really great family, great person. I think is that relationship. I just think from on the field, there's a trust level there of, you know, we spend a lot of time with him and then let him play too on Saturdays. And I just think that, you know, like you said, you know, it started one way. I think that, you know, you build that, especially for a guy that we didn't really recruit out of high school, any of that, didn't have a previous relationship. And I think it pays off, you know, when you have relationships and the quarterbacks trust you too, you know, and you go back to Matt Corral when he threw 6 interceptions, and before I even got to the media, sitting down with him, telling him, you know, we got to do a better job calling plays. I got to coach better. And don't worry, we got your back. And so I think that goes a long ways, and goes a long ways with kids in recruiting, you know, knowing what they're going to get when they get here from a relationship, and that they can trust us to have their back.
Well, that's one SEC coach that can say that, but not all of them right now. You know what?
No. This is absolutely Troll 101, and I love it, man. I love it. I mean, you may hate Lane Kiffin, but you got to admire the amount of trolling that he goes through, you know? Jeez. Oh, man.
And you just know, Shane, I mean, whoever that message was for, he's probably in his DMs right now. You know, you're thinking, I know Auburn's after a touted quarterback that I think he's committed to Notre Dame or something like that. You know, Kiffin is sliding in there saying, we got a spot for you here. You know what?
Absolutely. You know it. Absolutely. And don't be surprised if some of these kids that are on this current football roster don't find a little I don't know, little letter in their box when they get home. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that shady stuff happens, but you know, if you could create a divided locker room, then that bodes well for somebody that loves the transfer portal.
Now, in all sincerity, though, Shane, all this stuff that Hugh Freeze is doing, if he's winning games, no one cares.
Yeah.
But the problem is, he ain't winning games. And I looked this up. This got pretty viral. They even old Paul threw it up on his show. After 17 games, Brian Harsin 9-8 at Auburn. Do you know what Hugh Freeze record is? 8-9. So even worse, brother. He's 8-12 in his last 20 games. That does span back to Liberty, but so 8-12, and he was favored in 14 of them. So this is not like he's facing some murderer's row or anything like that. But man, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And let me ask you this: I mean, I'm piling on, yeah, but I'm going to keep doing it because he deserves it. If we're going to preview this game in a minute, Shane, but if Auburn loses at home to Oklahoma, not a given by any means, but Oklahoma is favored. If they lose there, you have to assume they're going to get destroyed at Georgia.
Yeah.
Again, they could beat Missouri the way Missouri's been playing, but at Missouri, big favorite. I would think Missouri. Let's say he loses all three of those. I mean, are we getting to the point where this man's going to get fired? Do you think? If we've lost, what would that be? 4 out of 4 and 5 out of 6. Do you think come November he's sitting on I'm not saying guaranteeing it or anything, but I certainly think that conversation is going to be had.
Mike, there's one thing about losing, and then there's another about losing and creating a spectacle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I feel like if, you know, they lost this Arkansas game, he came out, said Sam had a good one. We clearly saw there were some mistakes being made, but don't, take the blame. Don't be in the news. I mean, we're talking about an Auburn-Arkansas game. We got Georgia and Alabama coming up, and the talk right now is how dumb Hugh Freeze is. And the bullshit that keeps coming out of his mouth. So you keep talking like this, guess what? You're putting a big bullseye on your program, and this is not what boosters want to see. This isn't what fans want to see. They want to see wins. They don't want to hear excuses, and they definitely don't want to hear the coach come out here and cry like a 2-year-old because someone took his ball. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
I feel like that's kind of where we're at right now with Hugh Freeze. So to answer your question, Hugh was never on the hot seat. He's building a hot seat. He has goddamn wood down underneath him, and he is literally smoking a cigarette with a tank of gasoline underneath him, And if he wasn't smoking, we wouldn't have a problem, but he just can't help himself.
Right.
It's like the gambler. He just wants to lose for some reason.
That he does. But all right, Shay, let's get into the meat of it because this is what we're really here for. Huge, epic showdown, Shane. Cannot wait for this matchup. Mighty Georgia at Alabama. And I realize, I would not have anticipated during the offseason that this did not feature any of these teams ranked number 1 in the country. But depending by how this goes, I would think the winner will be ranked number 1 in the country the following time. So, again, huge, huge game of implications here. Let me ask you this right off the top rope, Shane.
Yeah.
The winner of this game, Georgia at Alabama. Do you think the winner, not that it guarantees them anything, but does the winner make the SEC championship game? What's your thoughts on that question?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Even if it's, they got Alabama, they got at Tennessee, at LSU, at Oklahoma. So you're putting them in, you think, huh?
I still think Georgia is, if not number 2 best team in the country. And if Alabama beats them, then they get in there. But I think Alabama's right there with them, 3 or 4.
Right.
So I'm
Texas on the schedule.
No,
that's critical.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, going on this game, because I've been thinking about it. A game like this 20 years ago would have been even bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would have been monumental because you could really argue the fact that whoever loses this game is probably not going to a BCS championship. Or let's say we go to the 14 playoffs, maybe they can still get in. It just feels like, I don't know, now that the divisions have gone away, now that we have 12 teams, I'm not saying it's taking away from the importance of this football game because, Mike, this is going to be a freaking monumental football game. But I do think that you made the comment, whoever wins goes to the first place. I think whoever loses still stays in the top 7, I would imagine, because, again, unless one gets their ass kicked, then all of a sudden we'll change the narrative.
Yeah, and you said 20 years ago, Shane. I think a year ago, it would be different because we were in a 4-team model. So, yeah, that's kind of the give and take of this expanded playoff. You lose some, but yeah, it is interesting. I mean, I certainly, and this is going to sound crazy, Shane.
Yeah,
but stay with me here. Again, I like to beat these drums that no one else is beating, right? Georgia's not played up to their standard. I think that goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
If they get whipped, big if, huge if. I don't know that's capable. Anybody's capable of whipping Georgia, and I'm talking like 14 points or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
If Alabama wins this game by 14 points, we might be looking at the decaying of the dogs here.
Ooh.
I mean, certainly they'll beat Auburn, and Hugh will say, well, we would have beat them, 9 out of 9 after that. Mississippi State, they'll smoke. But then we're looking at Texas, at Ole Miss, Tennessee. I mean, I think they'll lose. If they're losing by multiple touchdowns to Alabama, they're going to lose to some of these other teams. Maybe all of them. Hell, I don't know. But I don't know. Would you buy that if Georgia gets smoked? Because, again, they're living off reputation right now.
Yeah.
Fair or not, but that's true. Because aside from whipping Clemson, and who knows how good Clemson is, they've not shown us much to show us that they're national championship quality.
No, 1/2. It wasn't a whole game either. So I feel like the Kentucky matchup kind of humanized them a little bit because they did have that mystique of being the biggest, baddest boys on town, and nobody wanted to play them. But Kentucky took them toe to toe. You know what I'm saying? So now, I mean, you pull that tape up, you say, well, hell, if Kentucky, no offense, Kentucky, nobody expects you to win that one. And they sure as hell didn't expect it to be a 1-point football game. But I'm just saying, now that that's happened, it kind of humanizes. I think it gives a team like Alabama, because coming into this thing, I felt like the pressure was on Bama. Now I feel like the pressure's on Georgia because what has Alabama got to lose?
Right. Yeah. So that's the other big topic with this one. Shea Kirby Smart, of course, 1-5 against Alabama. Of course, that was Nick Saban's Alabama. Alabama has not been an underdog at home since 2007. Little trivia for you, Shane. Who was the coach at Alabama in 2007?
2007?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Saban?
Yeah, I was trying to get you. That was his first year. So they've not been an underdog at home since Saban's first year. Okay. When I feel like that was 50 years ago. You know what I mean? Yeah. But again, I mean, there's a lot of things here that are just. Here's what I was going to say. So who is this bigger for though? Because DeBoer, he's got to carry on that tradition. He's got to. I think there's a legitimate chance, Shane. I know I just kind of I'm saying, what if Georgia gets their ass whooped? What if Alabama gets their ass whooped? If Alabama gets their ass whooped, again, we ain't firing DeBoer.
Yeah,
but he'll begin to start losing fans.
That's exactly right.
That's the truth of it, and he won't lose them all. But he'll lose a small percentage, and if they lose at Tennessee, then they're going to say, "What the hell? We always beat Georgia except one time, and all our guys were injured." Mm-hmm. And Saban's beaten Tennessee every damn time except one year when we had Pete Golding. I mean, it's going to go on and on and on like this. And I don't know. Again, I think there's a lot on the line for DeBoer. He's got to live up to. There's a lot on the line for Kirby to show that that they can beat Alabama. So who's got more on the line in this game? You think?
Well, I think football team-wise, I think Georgia's got more to lose here just because of, again, that mystique that we are supposed to be the number one kid on the block. But I do think DeBoer has a little internal pressure. Yeah, you're following the GOAT. You're following Nick Saban. I'm sure we're going to see multiple cameras of Nick Saban. I don't know, over under. We may see Saban more than Trump. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know how they're going to fit parents into the parent cam this football game. But there's going to be a lot of that going on. There's a lot of eyes on this football game, and I think it's the first true test of DeBoer. And did we make a mistake, or did we hire the right guy? I think there's an opportunity here if he goes out and beats Georgia that we're looking back and saying, you know what, these guys are going to be all right without Nick Saban, and kind of chip away at, not saying again, taking anything away from what Nick Saban's done to create this. He's the reason that we are talking about them today as much as we do. But I'm just saying, DeBoer has an opportunity here to kind of make a name for himself in Tuscaloosa. So, yeah, I think internally more pressure on DeBoer than Kirby.
And, it's very interesting that you said that, Shane, because I wanted to say this too. If fair or not, do you think I have heard Kirby Smart's approach called old school Nick Saban, where it's defense. Mm-hmm. It's trying to be the best defense in the country and kind of grind it out. That doesn't mean you don't have a good quarterback. It doesn't mean you don't have good receivers. But before Nick Saban kind of went to the spread, that certainly, when he had Kirby Smart as his defensive coordinator, that certainly seems the blueprint for Georgia. Is that fair, you think?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think so.
Now we bring in this Kalen DeBoer. It obviously used to be Nick Saban, Kirby Smart. They're like clones of one another. Now we got this new guy in here who's going to do it completely different. He's completely changed the offense. Again, Georgia's won 2 national championships in the last 3 years, so there's no indictment on what they're doing. But if they start losing ground to Alabama and this newfangled offense, and they can't stop it. Like, imagine a scenario there, Shay, where they can't stop Jalen Milroe because he's in Kalen DeBoer's offense. I'm not sitting here predicting that, but if that does happen, like if it's a high-scoring game, can Georgia, even though they've got this quarterback that everybody told us was going to be the first overall pick in the NFL draft, which he still may be, but I don't have confidence in Georgia to win a high-scoring game against Alabama. Do you?
No, I don't. If this becomes a shootout, I favor Bama.
So if that happens, and again, we're playing out so many hypotheticals here, but if that does happen, if it is a shootout and this offense struggles, oh God, Mike, I just realized Mike Bobo, the chance will not stop. But if that does happen, will it force Kirby's hand to say, I mean, they won't be able to do it in the middle of the season, but maybe in the offseason say, hey, we got to open this thing up a little bit. Could you see a scenario? Sarkisian's doing it. Tennessee's doing it. Lane Kiffin's doing it. I don't know. Could you see to where Kirby needs to open this thing up if they start losing some of these games?
Well, I think you just compared them to Nick Saban. There was a moment Nick Saban hired Lane Kiffin, and I don't think it's definitely who he wanted, but it's something that he needed. And I feel like that in this day and age, college football, the way it just molds and changes and morphs every single year. It's like the old like police radar and then radar detectors. They come out with a police radar and then they come out with a better radar detector. And I feel like football's like that. But if you're not thinking of it that way, if you're thinking kind of that Jimbo Fisher-esque, mold where, hey, this worked back then all of a sudden you're going to find yourself unemployed. And I'm not saying Kirby's in jeopardy of doing that, but I think he's also smart enough to realize that this is a game that's evolving, and if he's not evolving with it, then he's going to get left behind.
Well, incredible comment here from Cousin Randy. What you just described as old school Saban, that sounds like Josh Heupel. I mean, that's dead on the mark right there, at least last week. But so each one of these coaches, Shane, they were asked basically the same question, big game, how do you handle it? And they have very different responses. So let's play Kirby's first, and then we'll kick it over to DeBoer. I want you to rate who had the better answer here.
To Tuscaloosa and some of the feelings you had about that, but I'm just curious because of your history, personal history with Nick Saban and working for him and then some great games against him over these last 9 years, just personally, does it feel any nostalgia in you or just different or I think the word strange was used. Is that how does it feel for you personally to not be going against an Alabama team that he's not coaching?
Well, he recruited a lot of them. And they're good players, and I think anytime you go against a really good team that's a powerhouse in college football, that it's a challenge. And I really look at it like this is a hell of an opportunity for our kids, our program, national stage, and we're on the national stage a lot. We've been in the national stage a lot, especially the last 3 to 4 years. So it's the reason kids want to come to Georgia. They say, I want to play in games like that. Most viewed game 2 weeks ago Saturday night was our game. It's going to probably be that way this Saturday night. And when you start looking at it, kids want to have an opportunity to play in those tight games, and that's we're going to have more of them after this. So it's a great opportunity to play in a national stage, and that's what we built our program on is playing tough opponents.
All right, so there's Kirby. Now here's DeBoer. Mr. DeBoering. Drink you a sip of coffee here.
Jamie?
Hey, Coach, everything's a first for you here. Just how are you feeling heading into coaching such a huge game like Alabama and Georgia?
Yeah, every game, like you said, is a first. First road trip, first game in Bryant-Denny, first conference game. But I think what you really just try to do is you just simplify it down. Any big game, and the next one is always the biggest one, right? You win this one, the next one becomes the bigger one, and so forth. And so, for us, it's just really honing in and trying to simplify it down to what you really have control of. And it's making sure our energy, attitude, and effort is on point, that we're going to continue to fight, in the midst of the battle that's going to happen on Saturday, but that our preparation is, 100% where it needs to be, because that's what's going to give you the confidence. That's what's going to give you the belief and trust when it comes to those big moments that are going to present themselves on Saturday.
Who answered it better, Shane?
Oh, sorry. Kirby's smart, man. We want the big games, I want him to come out here like Hank and say, we're going to destroy the Dogs, I'm not saying that's, probably what the coach needs to say. But again, this is why the kids are there. They're there because this is a step to the NFL. This is an opportunity for them to maximize their viewership and get that NIL money as well. So there's a lot of good that go into think, but Coach Speak, get the hell out of here.
Hey, shout out to Cousin Gary. Just became a member of the channel. Thank you, Cousin Gary. Hey, and Cousin John, too. John Alexander. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey,
he became a member. So thank you, Cousin John.
Brother.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just so excited for this game, Shane. They can't take away my damn excitement just because there's a massive playoff and the loser's not eliminated. I'll tell you what, we will eliminate the loser come Saturday night, and then probably by Sunday we'll come off at. But that night they suck. They're losers. They're never going to do it again. DeBoer needs to be fired. Kirby needs to be fired. Those are going to be the takes that come out Saturday night. You know what,
Mike? I feel like too, and I hate we're not using it yet because it's not there. We're not separating anything, but I do feel like there's also an opportunity to see a team maybe is not as good as we thought they were. Like this is a team that a teammate, because both of these teams you ask right now, everybody's got them penciled in as a college football playoff team, potentially an SEC championship team. But I have a feeling there's a shot here that one of these teams has been lying the whole time. They've been lying. We've been pumping them up. We've been saying they're good, they're great, they're here, and then all of a sudden we're going to get exposed Saturday and say, you know what? They're going to be lucky to make the playoffs.
Ooh.
I feel it, man. I feel it. I don't think this is a Morristown Honda game, Mike. I think one team is going to beat the shit out of the other team.
Is it a lock?
I'm locking it. I'm locking this one. I already know who it is. I ain't going to tell you.
Okay. No, don't tell me. Hold on to that bad boy.
Think of the good bets we can have from now till then.
Exactly. All right. Speaking of getting exposed here, Shane, could that happen to them Ole Miss Rebels? Come on. They're favored. It's in every category here on the screen over Kentucky. So I'm kind of just kidding here. They're 17.5 point favorite, I believe, is the latest total here. But very interesting, Shane. Very interesting. Those answers from Kirby and DeBoer, not that interesting. This one from Lane is interesting, and it will go to exactly, we just tell the truth. And some of these Ole Miss fans, they can't take it, Shane. They cannot take it, but they have to take it when their head coach is saying it. Let's kick it over to Kiffin.
Do you think these first 4 games of the year have kind of adequately prepared you guys for the gauntlet of SEC play, and how prepared are you to go into it? You said, obviously we're going to see this weekend, but the competition that you played, how much has that prepared you so far, you think?
I'm a realist. I don't think our opponents have really prepared us for the SEC play. What my hope is our practice in our fall camp has prepared us because we play against really good players on both sides of the ball. So defensively, we play against really big linemen, and same the other way around. So schedule would not. It is what it is, and so I hope that our practice has, because our practice is similar to what we face.
Coach, I'm sure.
So the practice, which there's absolutely, that's absolutely valid to say given who they played. The practice more challenging than the damn game, Shane. Well, that's changing come Saturday because we have seen Kentucky go toe-to-toe with mighty Georgia and beat the hell out of Ohio. Okay, I can't do any more than that. But they did go toe-to-toe with Georgia. So, again, I'm not saying they're better than Ole Miss or anything like that. But exactly what Kiffin says. Their schedule has not prepared them for SEC. I thought that was pretty interesting that he'd come out and say that.
No, it's true. I mean, that's why we haven't been talking about him for 4 weeks, really. It's just, it's a scrimmage against, it's like a high school going against a middle school, it felt like at times. And what are you really learning here? And that's I think the most important part. It's not just practice, but film study. Because, in these terrible games, there were still probably some mistakes being made. And as long as the work got put in the film and maybe they picked up on those mistakes, I think that's what's going to help them against a team like Kentucky. The practice, like he says, iron sharpens iron, as Saban used to say. So that's exactly what's going on here at Ole Miss, something they've not had in a while. But these are ones against ones, brother. These are NFL talent against NFL talent. So he may be onto something there, but how physical is practice? I don't think it's that physical. I think the true test will be this Saturday.
Cousin Gary, best quote of the night or comment of the night so far, Shane. Ole Miss been playing Kiffin's girlfriend's high school.
Damn. Oh, gosh.
But, again, Shane, I was just throwing up Jackson Dart's numbers here. And this is not how the Heisman is given out or anything like that. But couldn't you see, Carson Beck struggled against Kentucky. Kentucky's got a damn good defense. If Jackson Dart lights him up like a piñata, like he has been all these, he's first in pass yards, completions, yards per attempt. He's 6-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. If Jackson Dart lights up Kentucky like Carson Beck could not, what will that say for his Heisman hopes this season?
Nothing.
What?
I don't, brother. Right now we're padding stats, and at the end of the day, when we're talking about Heisman candidates, and you're comparing quarterback 1 to quarterback 2, these games will be a big favor. No, they're not going to look back and say, "Well, how did he do against Kentucky?" No, there's plenty of games on Ole Miss's schedule that's going to give him that opportunity to win the Heisman. This one is a game that can prevent him from winning a Heisman. If this thing becomes a upset, or if it comes down to the wire or some mistakes are being made, people are going to tune in because they're not expecting Kentucky to win this game, just like they watched the Georgia matchup. So this isn't a game to help him win the Heisman. This could be a game that could inevitably make him lose the Heisman if it goes the wrong way.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying he'll win it this weekend, but I'm saying it could start the campaign because I think his numbers are Heisman worthy. But no one's been paying attention because of the competition.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I think there'll be a lot more folks watching it. There's less games this Saturday. Most of them are going to be conference matchups. So there will be more eyes on this football game.
Yeah.
You may have a good point there. Just he's going to have a big game and 4 or 5 to kind of kick that thing off. But again, people aren't giving Kentucky respect. They're not giving South Carolina respect. But you and I and listeners on this show, they know that this is 2 of the toughest defenses in the conference right now. And this is a true test. You want to talk about getting ready for SEC? Before you get to LSU, before his daughter could put on that beat LSU magnet, they got to beat these first 2 teams. And I feel like these 2 teams are what's going to help them win the SEC. Not so much Jackson getting a Heisman. Jackson getting a Heisman, it'll happen if it happens. But it will happen if Ole Miss doesn't lose football games. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And so I got Brock Vandegrift's stats. I mean, they're pretty rough, but he has been playing better. But I asked this question to Steve, and I want to ask it to you as well, Shane.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, big if, but because I feel like you're completely out on Kentucky after so much hype. But let's swing it this way.
Yeah.
Again, huge if here. If they beat Ole Miss on the road this Saturday, we're sitting here and we're 3-2, and I think even you, very optimistic with Kentucky, I think even you said 3-2 is how they'll start. So basically we're just switching the South Carolina, which was a likely win for a likely loss at Ole Miss. So again, if we're 3-2 after 5 and we're Kentucky, are we feeling good? Because I think you could swing it to where we're building momentum, and several of these teams upcoming we can beat.
Mike, if you could beat Ole Miss, you can beat anybody on this schedule.
Right.
I'm not saying that Kentucky's going to go 10-2 here, but if you beat Ole Miss, I mean, 8-9 wins is very, very feasible here, because I don't think Vanderbilt's a problem anymore. I don't think Florida's a problem. Auburn, Tennessee is going to be a good football team and a tough outing, but compare Texas and Tennessee, those two teams. If you drop one of those, then all of a sudden you're 9-3, and 9-3 Kentucky, buddy. I think they should give Stoops whatever he wants at the end of that season.
And you know the crazy thing here, Shane?
What's that?
I'm not saying, again, I got the schedule up here, but I'm not saying that that we should. I mean, it'd be kind of a little crazy to say, if Kentucky wins against Ole Miss, to say, hey, they're destined for the playoff.
Yeah.
But if they do, they're back in the conversation. And that is kind of the beauty of this 12-team model, to where in years past, you get whooped by Carolina, you lose a heartbreaker to Georgia, the season's essentially done.
Yeah.
With this new format, again, it's going to take some big upsets, but you can work your way back into the conversation, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it's just pivotal wins at the right time. And, if you got some early losses, there's like at LSU, there's still time that you can survive, but if you start losing them here, late September, 1st October, then all of a sudden it's, that situational loss, I can't get you back into the playoffs that route.
Hey, I'm going to screenshot this for old cousin Danny here. He says, if Kentucky beats Ole Miss, I'll eat Wildcat turds out of a Solo cup with a spoon. So there you go, cousin Danny.
They will track you down. Be careful. I have seen some bad bets out there, man. I've seen a burrito bet, a red Solo cup bet. I don't know what bet I'm going to use, but I can guarantee you it ain't going to be gross like that.
All right, how about this matchup, Shay? This is another one. Very excited to see. We got new life here in Arkansas, Shane. Now that the Razorbacks have defeated Auburn, now in A&M, then I wouldn't say they've caught fire, but they've been consistent. They beat Florida. Neither one of us picked them to beat Florida. They did it. It's pretty interesting, though, that a lot of these statistics favor the Razorbacks.
Yep.
Which kind of gives them a little bit better shot than I kind of would have realized going into this. A&M's a 4-point favorite in Jerry World. Of course, all that Arkansas does is just lose to A&M in Jerry World. So take that for what it's worth. But we had some bad coach comments, Shane.
Yeah.
Our man. Please let him just keep winning so we can keep getting these moments to help this show, Shane. Sam Pittman was asked about Mike Elko being an Ivy League graduate. This is the best one of the week right here.
How smart Elko is. He went to Penn. So he's an Ivy League guy.
Yeah.
And all due respect to all.
At Spur State.
Yeah, all due respect to all the I can't think of another SEC coach from an Ivy League school, or for that matter, at any of the big power schools. You just don't see it very often.
Yeah. It's obvious one of us didn't go. That'd be up here.
I don't mean that.
That's all right. I mean, 6 years I got my PE degree. What's that?
But does he seem like an Ivy League guy in those meetings, or does he talk like an Ivy League guy, or just wondering how he is with that?
He just really, you can tell he's intelligent just by the way he talks, and certainly knows football as well. And I knew he went to Penn, but him and the head of officials, he went to Harvard, I think, or Yale, I can't remember. Which one was it, Pat? Harvard. So them guys, they're going to win the spelling bee, I can tell you that.
6 years to get a PE degree, Shane. That's our coach there. He's one of us. You know what?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it, man. And they're so lucky. I'll tell you, Mike, they are so damn lucky Auburn ain't on that schedule because they got the one. I don't know if they could get them twice, Mike.
Now, how about this matchup, though? Taylor Green going up. But I didn't realize this, Shane. Sam Pittman and Bobby Petrino, the only two Arkansas coaches to actually get a win over Texas A&M as SEC foes here. So, but the wild card here is Taylor Green. The completion percentage, not great, but he's just such an X factor.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts going up against this Mike Elko defense, Shane? Taylor Green and this Bobby Petrino offense, will they have success against the Aggies?
I love Taylor Green. I don't know how many weeks I've got to say this. I think him, maybe Pavia, those are my two biggest surprises at quarterback. And, you know, I imagined how good Green could be, but I honestly thought he'd be a loose cannon. And he has made mistakes. He made mistakes last week, but I'm also seeing growing up. I'm seeing developing, and I'm seeing that kid that's going out there laying his life on the line for Arkansas for a damn first down. You know what I'm saying? Not just to win a game, but just to get a first down. He'll do everything he can. That's what this team has right now that a lot of teams don't in the SEC. There are a lot of great individuals in this conference. We've talked about the accolades of some of these are potentially Heisman winners. There ain't no Heisman winner on Arkansas Razorbacks team right now. They got 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense that are doing anything and everything to just get by another week. And I love that because I feel like this is a true brotherhood, and that makes them extremely, extremely dangerous. It doesn't matter who they're playing. It could be A&M this week. It could be Georgia next week. It does not matter. Arkansas is going to be a dangerous football team because of that alone.
Right. And then A&M's given up 20 points back-to-back weeks to Florida and Bowling Green. Now, again, those are, the strongest part of Florida is their offense. Bowling Green, hell, I don't know, but we've seen, they've made the news twice this year for scoring a lot. So maybe they got a really good offense, but I don't know, Shane. I like Arkansas's odds to have some success against Texas A&M, particularly when you start to see some of the statistics and see how they rank up against the Aggies here. This could be, this could be a really good run. And I threw this out the other day, Shane. Let's look at Arkansas right now. They're 3-1.
Yeah.
Most fans, I think, would consider that a win.
Right.
But we don't know how good this team really is just yet. But I think we're about to find out because A&M, Tennessee at home, LSU at home.
Oh, yeah.
All those three were going to dictate how good Arkansas is, and it's not out of the realm of possibility that they win a few of them. I mean, I truly think they could win a couple of these games, but that'll kind of determine how good the Razorbacks really are. You know what?
Yeah, there's two in particular I think you got a really good shot at. And
we know which ones you're looking at, buddy.
Which one is it? No, I think, brother, but again, everybody counted Arkansas at the beginning of the season. So they're playing with house money right now. They've got nothing to lose. And I feel like A&M, nobody's talking about them. They were boring as hell last week, but that's also dangerous too. This is a football team that I felt like I don't think there was holdback. I don't think they dumbed down anything, these last couple of weeks to hide anything from conference play. But I do think that this is also another team that's, out to prove something, and they're doing it for the coach. They're doing it for each other, and they've had a rough start, a rough go of things. But this could possibly be the best football game Saturday, man.
Yeah, it's always crazy down there. And Mike Elko talked about it. I mean, this is a team that is just trying to find itself, really, and get better week in, week out. And that is something that we have said time and time again, Shane. We think this team will be better by the end of the season than it was at the start. And despite saying that, they're sitting here 3-1. which I think is overachieving. But it's going to get real here in a minute with Arkansas and Mizzou coming up back to back, and then LSU to close out the month of October. So this will be a critical stretch, Shane.
Yeah.
We're going to find out whether A&M, they're ranked right now. I don't know if that's deserved or not, but again, they'll prove it in the month of October. Are you a top 25 team? Are you a fringe playoff contender? We're about to find out, because if you go, I mean, my goodness, I was about to say 4-0, but hell, I mean that's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
No.
But let's say 3-1. I think let's not do what the pollsters do and just overhype the Aggies. If we're 3-1 in these next 4, then we're sitting at 6-2.
Yeah.
We're going into that Texas game with playoff hopes on the line. I really do think.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking. We talked about this early last week. It feels like they're at a fork in the road, and either they're going to be an okay team or they're going to be a great team. And it really does hinge on this Arkansas matchup. They come out here and they put the Razorbacks away. Then all of a sudden you're looking at a Mizzou team that's really been struggling, an LSU team that's really been struggling. In the offseason, we said those were surefire losses. Now we're like, man, those could be tosses, man. South Carolina, New Mexico, Auburn, and then you got Texas. Forget it, buddy. A rivalry that hasn't been around in, 20-something years? It doesn't matter who's good or who's bad in that game. You know you're going to get a matchup. So, yeah, I think A&M is kind of at that pivot. This is make or break for them this season.
For both these teams, really. You know what?
Yeah. I feel like Arkansas is house money. I don't feel like it's a break. If they lose, they lose. They still can pull off some upsets here and still have an awesome season. I feel like A&M's got a little bit more pressure because I think they've got more on the line.
Okay.
Just because of schedule. I mean, look, if you go back to Arkansas' schedule, they got Tennessee, LSU, Ole Miss, Texas, Mizzou. I mean, there's a lot of good football teams in there. You know what I'm saying? If you can knock off 2 of those, I think we're keeping Sam for another year. But on the other side, A&M side, I think there's some very, very winnable games and an opportunity that if they do surprise Mizzou or they do beat Arkansas and they start that positive, just that momentum train, if you will. This is a football team that you got to ask those questions late November if they belong in or not.
Texas fan says, "Don't start that trash, Mike Aggies."
What time is it? 7:47.
Hey, we had a donation here from Charles Marr here. Let's give him a shout out here.
Hey, thanks, cuz.
Appreciate you, Cousin Charles.
Thanks, cuz.
I think people are expecting Mizzou to blow teams out because of their offense. That's not how Mizzou plays. Still a playoff team. What's your thoughts on that, Shane? Let me throw up a schedule here. Do you think that old Mizzou is still a playoff team?
I do, Mike. I do. I think Vanderbilt's better than people think. Boston College top 25 win. This bye week could not come at a better time. If I had to pick any team in the SEC right now, maybe than Oklahoma because of the injuries and stuff, but I'm thinking Mizzou just to kind of get recalibrated and get back dialed in because what they've been trying to do has not been working, and they're going to have to fine tune this thing. And I keep saying I feel like I'm their dads, but I'm just saying this is a team that still has everything in front of them. They got if they win out, they beat A&M, they beat UMass, Auburn. Bama and Oklahoma are their toughest 2 opponents, and if they beat one of them, they're in the playoffs. So yes, I still think that it's possible.
Cousin Matt says you sound like a delusional Mizzou fan.
Is that it? I've been too close to them. They've been putting something in them Luther chips. I knew it.
I would honestly say, Shane, no, they do not look like a playoff team to me.
Yeah.
But the defense has certainly surprised. I've said it many times. I think that's one of the biggest surprises of the young season is just how good Mizzou's deep. Now, they've given up they've had a couple busts.
Yeah.
But that's basically everybody gives up busts from time to time. I'm more impressed with how they're kind of more or less locked down the rest of the game. Now, do I believe they're a playoff team? Not anymore.
Yeah.
But they're 4-0. What you just said, they got everything in front of them. They can still get there.
Yeah.
Hell, there's nothing stopping them but themselves. They just got to stop doing that. They got to start clicking on offense. But we said that 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting tired of saying it. So you kind of are who you are if you haven't gotten there. So I'll say no, but they can still get there if that makes sense.
Yeah. You ate Mizzou. Got it. Check. Noted. Guess I'm going November 9th by myself.
How about this one, Shade, though? Speaking of that week, them Sooners, Shade, oh my goodness, what are we doing here? Their offense is in shambles on the road to Auburn. Well, the good luck is Auburn's in shambles too. So you are a favorite, Oklahoma Sooners, on the road by 2.5 points here on the plane, Shade. And this is a wonky game. The statistics are split. Auburn's favored half. Oklahoma's favored the other half. Oklahoma's announced Michael Hawkins, the true freshman, will start for the Sooners, benching Jackson Arnold. Man, I feel like I think Jackson Arnold will have a long career, but I think it's over in Norman. I hate to say it. I hope it's not, but what do you make of this one, Shane? Because this is one where, by God, Shane, if Oklahoma cannot win this game, they got Texas coming up. They got South Carolina coming up. They got Ole Miss coming up. They got Mizzou. They got Alabama. They got LSU. Oh my Lord! And then hell, we just went over Auburn's. It's almost as bad. But this is like a must-win from a different category just to prevent epic meltdown.
Well, let me ask you this, Mike. If I'm giving you a true serum right now, and you're saying which program do you have most confidence will do better this season, or which will do worse? Like if you were, because they're both teeter-totting. It's like a coin toss with both of these guys.
Right.
Which one are you more confident will be successful toward the end of this season?
Like record-wise or
no,
what?
I'm just talking about growth development, because I feel like the problem isn't so much who they're playing. It's the development we're seeing on the football field. The offense, Oklahoma has done nothing until we got to the Tennessee game, and they're like, oh, we probably should try a different quarterback. It's like, should we try that earlier? You know what I'm saying? I just feel like it was almost a little too late, but at least they are making those decisions. And then Auburn on the other side, I don't know who's going to be quarterback over there, but
right.
I'm just wondering, are you seeing a trajectory that, like, if these are two teams on two paths, which one is going to excel the most by the end of the season?
Well, real quick, I just want to shout out cousin Drew Locke here. I hope that's the real Drew Locke. Jackson Arnold transferring to Mizzou would break Twitter. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? But
he better not go. He better size up the offensive line wherever he goes. I don't care about NIL. I just don't want to run for my life.
Right. That's a tough one, Shane, because there appears to be little to no development on Oklahoma's offense.
Yeah.
And there appears to be little to no development with Auburn's offense. But where do I got the most trust? I got the most trust in Oklahoma's defense. So if they can continue to hold that rope, but we have seen it before, Shane, where we've got a dynamic one side of the ball, and about 6 games, 7 games, 8 games into the season, they let go of the rope.
Yeah.
Because you can't win every one of these games if your offense only scoring 10 to 14 points in conference play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess I would have more confidence in Oklahoma, but strangely, I think Auburn's record could be better because they don't face quite the murderer's row.
Yeah.
But I think this game is going to go a long way to dictating it. And I think whoever wins this game, Shane, they could right the ship. I really do.
Yeah.
And then I think who loses it, I said this on Twitter, people went crazy. I think the coach that loses this game is going to get fired before. This is exactly what I said, before long. I didn't say this year. But they'll be on the hottest of hot seats going into next year, and they'll probably be the first coach fired. It'll be like something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you think the loser? Do you think there's a chance both of them are on the hot seat in 25?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
If they're still there.
Yeah.
I mean, Hugh is one phone call to a sex worker away from getting fired. You know what I mean? So there's no guarantee he's even a coach in a year. We don't have to worry about that with Venables. But yeah, I mean, this could be the beginning of the end. Is essentially what I was really trying to say with whoever loses this game.
Well, I sense some urgency with Venables. It's like, unlike Hugh that's coming out and pointing at himself and pointing at others at the flaws. But I feel like this is a guy that realizes the urgency's here. The time is on, and the decisions need to be made. That's why they've made the quarterback decision. They didn't let this thing teeter all week, and then be a game time decision. I feel like we've got valuable reps this week in practice. Let's give it to him.
Yeah, and all this Oklahoma bashing, Shane. ZOV, Texas fan, just became a member. Thank you, brother. But hey, we just tell it like it is, and it's rough. Now again, I don't think. Oh, and shout out cousin JR, man. My goodness, Shane.
JR, there he is.
You better pick them dogs on Thursday, Shane, because cousin JR has gifted another membership. This time to Todd Gwynn. So we appreciate you, JR. We appreciate you, cousin Todd. Welcome to the family.
Welcome.
But I don't know, Shane. I mean, I don't think this is all on Jackson Arnold. I really don't. But
No.
but he's been playing so poorly. I think he's lost his confidence, due in large part to the offensive line. But I don't think the coordinator's doing a good job. I mean, it's just just like a tornado of bad stuff right now in Norman. And I think changing the quarterback, that seemed to certainly have an effect against Tennessee. And I hope it does moving forward. Maybe that's a catalyst, Shane, because there was, when I was down there, I don't know if I talked about this on the show or not, but this is 100% legit. I think I said it at Media Days. I can't remember. But people were telling me behind the scenes, watch this Michael Hawkins. He's outplaying Jackson Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they were telling me that. Now, they also said, well, the offensive line is so bad that, the guy that can run better, and not that Jackson Arnold can't run. He had almost 100 yards against Tulane. But, if your line's in shambles, you probably should have the guy back here that can run for his life. You know what I mean? So that could have played a part. But you watch that game Saturday, Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins, there was not even a question of who was the better quarterback.
No, there wasn't. And when he came in, he was like a lightning bolt out there. And it energized not only this team, but it energized that fan base. I could tell there was a different aura when he came in. So this is a kid that, he's gonna have to learn how to avoid hits. I will say that. He cannot be diving into the end zone like that when he's got several more plays to get in there. But again, that's the kind of gamer you're putting back there, and maybe that's what the little spark they needed.
Hey, cousin Scott, he just gifted a membership.
Hey, thanks, cuz.
Hey, we are in a given mood here today, folks.
It ain't even Christmas yet, huh?
Cousin Lester, welcome to the family.
Welcome.
And we also had Sam Sarah Gaming. How about that?
Come on now.
That's a cool name. Welcome, Sam Sarah. We appreciate you. But any other final thoughts here on Oklahoma?
No. I
will say this. It sounds this is not a surprise. I think again, I'm gonna bash you again real quick. I have to bash him one more time. I'm contractually obligated, Shane, to bash him like 12 times a episode. But he's ruined Hank Brown, and they're going back to Peyton Thorne. So that's not official, but I think that's pretty obvious. Peyton Thorne's your quarterback, and if he makes a mistake in this game, good Lord, I can only imagine the reaction. You know what?
I can't either. I felt bad because their team put out they're going all orange,
right?
The orange out or whatever, and I was like, don't look at the comments. Don't look at the And I looked at it and I was like, damn, this fan base does not give a shit about jersey colors. They just want a quarterback that won't throw interceptions,
Right. And who else is missing out, Shane?
What's that?
I think we were talking about missing out. I can't remember. But anybody that does not like free breakfast, Shane, I know you do.
Come on. I love free breakfast.
Head on over to HelloFresh.com/free SEC. That's FREESEC. HelloFresh.com free SEC. And you know what that gets you, Shane?
What's that?
Free breakfast for life. Come on now. Free breakfast for the length of your subscription over at HelloFresh. One free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life. Just go to HelloFresh.com/free SEC. And there's nothing better, Shane, than getting something for free, like all these Auburn quarterbacks giving us a free football. You know what?
That's right. Absolutely. I love free breakfast. Had it twice today.
All right. How about this one, Shane? Oh man, when I did these stats, I was like, I said a prayer. I really did
Yeah.
for Mississippi State because oh my goodness, Shane, they are dang near a 50-point underdog. So a 38.5 at Texas. Shane, mighty Texas. Sounds like Quinn Ewers getting much closer. So we may see Quinn Ewers. I hope we do. That we can kind of put some cold water on all that Arch craziness. I mean, he's fantastic. He's gonna win a Heisman. I get it, but maybe not this year. But Mississippi State at Texas. This will be the first SEC game for them Longhorns. I feel like this will be a little bit less hoopla than Tennessee at Oklahoma. I don't know. I just got a feeling. But thoughts on this one, Shane? Mississippi State, of course, without their quarterback, they're going to go with the freshman. A lot of freshman quarterbacks in the SEC. But Jeff Lebby, he worked a number on Texas last year, Shane. They pulled a massive upset. Can they do it again this year?
Mike. It's going to take more than a quarterback here. No. This is. I don't think that you rush yours. I think that's the interesting storyline here. This is a team that Arch Manning can win without. I think it's a very important matchup because your neighbors up north, they dropped their first SEC matchup.
Yeah.
So coming out here getting the first win, that's just another feather in your cap. So I don't think that this will be a ball game, and we'll talk about it a little bit closer till Thursday. But I don't know what to say on this one, brother.
Oh, well, I mean.
Well, let me ask you this. I did see something that was interesting. I wish I had the picture, but they were talking about all the Mannings that had their debuts. And did you see that one? And so they're all talking. So it's Archie, all of them. Eli had 5 touchdowns more than any of them. And he quote tweeted it and said, "I win." So officially, Eli Manning is the best Manning that's been out there.
Right. Cousin A. Smith. I'm telling you, Quinn might be back. You're like, let's swing it back to Arch as much as we can.
You got me sidetracked. I was thinking about it. No, I'm not saying Arch is that. You start that shit.
But no, I mean, I want to see Mississippi State show some fight and see how much they got left in them, quite frankly, Shane. Because I think they threw the book at Florida.
Yeah.
And they didn't quit. They got down big, but then they came back. But how will they look on the road in an SEC environment? Again, if they lose by 50, then they got Georgia coming up. Oh, man. There's just nothing good to say other than I want to see this team fight.
I know, man, but I saw a video earlier this week that this dog got the cowbell and he went and threw it in the trash can. And I was like, was that where we're at, Mississippi State, that we're training our dogs to throw our bells in the trash can? I don't think we should give up just yet. So I'm with you. Again, this is a team that has nothing to lose. We're gonna have a new quarterback out there. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of a picture of the future, if you will, and maybe he'll give you a little breath of fresh air. But yeah, they're in for the fight of their life. But again, it's a team that has absolutely nothing to lose. So if they do make this interesting, just for one half, I think would be a win, Mike.
Yep. All right. How about one last one here, Shane? South Alabama at old mighty LSU. I think that's your favorite team these days, there, LSU Tigers, Shane. But again, no Harold Perkins. That's a blow to the defense. Garrett Nussmeier's heating up though, Shane. We got some running game going in the last outing against UCLA. Again, maybe the worst first half team in the SEC, maybe the best second half team. Night game here, Baton Rouge, 22-point favorites. I mean, how many times are we going to see this defense get shredded before we are concerned, Shane? Do we shut down South Alabama, who they've got a
good offense.
Really good offense here.
Yeah, won't that be something? Because nobody cares about South Alabama until they're giving LSU a fit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying trap game here, but, man, LSU has been very, very disappointing, like you said, in the first half of all their football games. And this is another one at home, and you're going to get the boos. You're going to have them boo birds out. You have an opportunity to just crush this football team, and I think the fans need it, Mike. They didn't get it they've not got it all year. They need just a beat down. So yeah, slow starts are not acceptable. This is a team you got to beat by, I think, 30 points to make the fans happy.
Mm-hmm. And do you need to see any progress though? With of course we'll have 2 weeks to prepare, but for this Ole Miss showdown coming up the following time,
Mike, if they play like they've been playing, if you pull that schedule up one more time after this one, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 losses in a row.
Oh, buddy,
I'm telling you, if they play like they've played the last 3 weeks. If they do that coming out tomorrow, like we saw no development, no growth, nothing, then when they hit Ole Miss, Arkansas, A&M, Alabama, they're not winning any of those football games.
Why? And you said I hate LSU.
I want LSU to succeed. I'm still in the Coach Kelly band camp, or
bandwagon.
Bandwagon. Sorry, it's getting late. Yeah, I've never been to band camp, but I do think that this is a football team that is similar to some of these other ones we talked about. It's just we've not established really an identity. Like sometimes they can run well. Garrett Nussmeier has been fired lately. The defense has just been absolute trash against trashy teams. So
right.
I hate that we lost Harold Perkins, but maybe we need to restructure that defense anyway. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we just need to redo this thing.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say have their way is a strong way of so let's not go that far. But let's say South Alabama has a ton of success against LSU's defense, which I don't think is that, hell, I don't think that's that big of a stretch given everything we've seen. What's the danger of a upset here on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high?
Week 1, I would have told you like 1 being low. I would have said 1.
Right.
But I'm kind of, because I think of Nichols, I think of even UCLA. That's a trash team. I'm thinking 6 right now.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
I don't disagree at all.
Yeah. I can't believe we're even talking about this. Can't believe we're even talking about this.
But if they played 9 more times, All right, buddy. Yeah, so we went over an hour. You got anything else before we hop off the line?
No, man, no, absolutely not. But Mike's been working on some awesome interviews. So YouTube, make sure you got those notifications on. Hit those subscriptions. Those really do help us out. Hit that like button.
Yeah.
Apparently that helps us out. We got like thousands of people watching and like 14 thumbs up. So maybe they're doing the thumbs down. We just don't know it yet. But those do help us out. And but other than that, no. Let's get back here tomorrow. Let's talk some more. Tomorrow's mailbag. Right, so we're going to put that out.
Mailbag.
Yeah.
And Steven's going to be making his picks. So back-to-back shows locked in.
Doubleheader.
On a Wednesday. Yep. So, yeah, well said. All right, buddy. That's going to do it for this episode of the show. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.